So about the distal femur, my topic was how to avoid failures in distal femur. Previously it was the intracapsular which was said to be an unsolved fracture, but according to me, now it should be the distal femur which is the new unsolved fracture, because if you see the failure rates across the literature, they are anywhere from 3 to about 21%, and that's really very high in terms of failure. Now Ricky published or enumerated very nicely in this paper some factors about patients which lead to failure, and then which are usually not in the surgeon's control. For example, if it's an open fracture or badly comminuted fracture, etc. But what is in your control is how well you could reduce it, how well you could fix it, and what kind of a fixation you did so that you could mobilize it as early as possible. So the surgeon's factors are something which we all should look into as far as avoiding failures are concerned. Whatever you do, never forget the length, the axis and the rotation in any fracture, because at the end of your fixation you do not want this kind of an X-ray staring at you. So reduction is of paramount importance, and there you need to consider the length, axis, rotation mantra. You need to know the length of the opposite limb, therefore you need to drape both the limbs together. You need to assess the rotation by the cautery wire test or whatever method you are comfortable with. Whether a nail or a plate, you must not forget these three things. Let's begin with nailing. Extra-articular fractures, very good results with nailing. Partially articular are the grey ones. Some excellent nailers can do a good job out of nailing, taking care of hofas and intra-articular elements, but complete articular like the C3 ones are not really good choices for nailing. Whatever nail you choose, don't use this. This was a 27-year-old dentist nailed like this, and I had to revise it, and then she was happy. That was the final result. So if you have a fracture like this, then the nail does a good job for you. It's a complete extra-articular fracture. This is another example, extra-articular fracture of the distal femur, a long nail, and it heals. In certain selective periprosthetic fractures, a nail can really bail you out by making it a minimally invasive fixation, and this heals nicely. But beware that for an effective intramedullary nailing, the fracture has to be about 6 centimeters from the joint line, with at least 2 distal bolts or a spiral blade or multi-directional locking. So today you have these kind of nails available even by Indian companies, and they are the ones which will give you a better stability as far as nailings are concerned. But then you do have complications like shortening or malrotation in nailing, and if you look at this paper, then reoperation rates are far higher in the nailing group than the plating, and that is because you do not see the reduction and you do not control the distal fragment. So when platings, you have various options. These are the various plates available. Step 1, you fix the joint surface anatomically, taking care of your hofas first, and then the rest of the joint like this, and then you fix that articular block to the diaphysis using either absolute or relative stability. But then what are the problems? Now look at this, a grade 3B open fracture, initially X-fixed like this, then plated. Now if you see this, the medial defect is not addressed, and this is very commonly seen. The plate is brought to the shaft, or the shaft is brought to the plate, causing a typical golf club deformity. The condyles lie in flexion, and there is a short telescopic reduction. So there is bound to be shortening. Now this is a recipe for failure. It usually fails. Another mistake is if your distal screws are not parallel to the joint. The first screw which you put distally should be parallel to the joint, otherwise you are going to end up in varus. So this is a landmark paper by Wong et al. Just a minute. which enumerates practically all, and that's a meta-analysis, systematic review, and it gives you a fantastic review of what fails in the distal fragment and what you should do. So if you have severe comminution, there is more non-union. More lock screws, more failures. Titanium plates fare better. Short plates, less than 9 holes, more failures. And medial cortical comminution, if not addressed, especially more than 2 centimeters, then more failures. And this is level 1 evidence. So look at this, a wrong choice of plates. This is a proximal humerus plate. Zara thamto ka 2 minute. Hafiz. And it broke. Had to be revised. This is 3 months, 6 months. How long should be your plate? Avoid the short plate syndrome. The plate should be at least 9 holes with 4 cortices in the proximal fragment. Avoid all lock screws in the proximal fragment. Hybrid fixations do well. So look at this. Now this is a diabetic, a smoker. Do you think this will work? Good fixation? Why? Yes. So it broke. And I had to revise it with a longer plate, more than medial, the short plate syndrome. And medially I had to, of course, address with another plate, and then it healed. This is 26-year-old, 6 months post-surgery, non-union, revised like this. Do you think this will work? Again, medial comminution not addressed, short plate, all lock screws broke, had to be revised with a longer plate. Use the concept of absolute stability here, which is absolute plus relative both. And then this is 1 year post second revision, it healed. This is again another example of a non-union, short plate, too rigid construct, all screws locked in the proximal segment, and it fails. So I had to revise it again with a longer plate and use interfrac screws, bone grafting, heals 1 year post revision. This was initially ex-fix grade 3B open, later on plated. Anything wrong with this? Again a short plate, broke. Did not do anything. At 6 months, 1 year it healed in varus. So at times when you have a spiral fracture, you may end up using plates as long as this. Whatever you do, do not use a short plate. You can err on the longer side than anything else. Now this is spanning the entire length of the femur and it heals very well. Medial wall, when should you do a medial plate in distal femur? So if your medial comminution is more than, or gap is more than 2 centimeters, then you should do either a strut allograft or a medial plate. For example, see this. This was a grade 3B open floating knee. This is a fibular strut from the same patient used medially. Last few slides. Primary medial fixation, when you have a medial defect more than 2 centimeters or severely porotic low distal fractures or a medial HOFA or non-unions, and in selected periprosthetic fractures. See this is a non-union fixed with fibular strut as well as medial plate, and it heals 1 year. Very low porotic fractures, primary medial fixation. And this is 9 month post-op. MIPO, in between there was a huge wave of MIPO for the distal femur. It works well if done well. This is a long plate, young biker, healed very well with MIPO. This is the functional result. But if you do just a MIPO with no sign of an alignment, see this, typical again, golf club deformity, shaft is lateralized, inadequate reduction, landed up with a non-union and failure. Another example, debridement MIPO done. Now this is a recipe for failure. It's a short plate, no reduction, plate is off proximally, screws are long medially, causing tib bursitis, and all lock screws in the proximal fragment. This is bound to fail. And it failed. If you see the geometry of the distal femur, a screw which is placed anteriorly turns up longer because of the trapezoid shape. So if you want to gauge the exact size, rotate by 30 degrees internally or externally, and then you will know the correct size, or better still, do not penetrate the medial cortex. And so also posteriorly, don't cross your plate below the Blumensaat's line, because you would enter the intercondylar notch with your screws, like this. Another thing about distal femur is the more traction you give, the more flexion the condyle goes into. So there's no point in giving traction for reduction. You put a bump under the fracture and not the knee to reduce that. Or this is a useful trick which you can do to reduce the flexion of the condyles. So to conclude, distal femurs have a modest rate of failure. Look at the length, axis and rotation, use long plates, use hybrid fixations, and when you have medial defects more than 2 centimeters, reconstruct with a stud graft or a plate. Thank you.